Welcome everybody to SA Boxing Talk. Once again, the content is flowing. We are sitting here with Marco Louis, manager of Raw Knapp, and that's your only box at the moment.
Only box at the moment.
Well, let's get straight into it. We're talking about management today, boxing management, what it is to be a boxing manager. How are you feeling? Because you're obviously very new at this.
Yeah. Well, basically, I got involved because of Rourke. He spoke to me when he came back from the UK. He was kind of on my back and saying, listen, he wanted to quit boxing if I didn't manage him. So I thought, why not? It hasn't been easy. It's something very different. I think you've got to have thick skin for this game, because you're going to be told a million times that if you are not a boxer or you haven't worked the corner or you have no boxing experience, that this can't be done. And I tend to disagree. I think we're doing a great job. I think I'm taking the business element and I'm making it a business venture with Rourke. And in 6 months, we've achieved more than some guys that have been in the industry for 10, 15 years. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with so far how it's going.
How do people take you as a, when you, obviously people don't know you, in boxing you're really new, how do people take you when you first arrive to their offices to approach them for obviously business and so forth?
The guys that do know me, like yourself, and I mean some of the guys now at the gym and stuff, you'll know that I'm a lucky go easy kind of guy. I make people feel comfortable around me. That's how I try and believe that's what I do. And yeah, when I came into the scene, I remember walking to Hotbox with Rourke, and my objective was to make Rourke feel comfortable. I didn't care what people thought of me. So, I was loud, I was crazy, I did the things that I'd normally do, and shifted a bit of focus off of Rourke. And before we knew it, a month in, he was fitting in. Not even a month, probably 2 weeks. He had fitted in, he was feeling comfortable, and I took the knock. People asked me who that guy is. A lot of criticism in the beginning. But yeah, I'm starting to slowly gain the respect of fighters and other managers and trainers, and starting to feel comfortable in the industry.
To give us a bit of perspective, obviously what you've done with Raw Knapp has been phenomenal in my opinion, and he's 7-0 now, 7-0, 1 draw. That's all. That's all you have to work with. He's not a champion yet. He's going to be a champion, but he's not a champion yet. What you've done with him is phenomenal. So with other boxers out there, perhaps with records similar to him, that are looking maybe to get a manager out there, because they also want to reap the rewards that Rourke is reaping. If you've seen all the sponsorships that are coming in, let's not even get there. But for other guys that want to approach, are you open for that, or is it just Rourke? What's going on?
Initially, I started, and it was only going to be Rourke. I've been approached now by a few seriously highly rated boxers. It was more difficult with Rourke. But like I said to you earlier before we had this discussion on camera, I said, you can't consider yourself a boxing manager properly. And I know people are going to take this the wrong way, but it's the truth. If you don't have a portfolio and a profile for your boxer, then I don't believe you're doing the right thing in terms of managing your fighter, because those are the simple tools. You go for an interview, you require a CV. This is a boxer's CV. You can't walk into a sponsor and say, listen, please sponsor me. This is my record. Not everybody's aligned to boxing. Not everybody understands what a boxing record is. Now, if you can present something and say, these are my future plans, this is where I've come from, this is what I'm doing, this is who's sponsoring me, it makes it a little bit easier when a fighter has something to walk into a sponsor and say, listen, this is what I'm about, have a read in your own time, and then get back to me. And that's what we did with Rourke. And from then, the sponsors started flowing.
Now, I know, obviously, there are managers like yourself overseas, but perhaps not in South Africa. Now, when you see a boxer that has to work and box, obviously he gets fatigued training clients. That's just the reality of boxing, but that's not how it should be. It should be like every other professional sport where guys come in, they get paid. And obviously with boxing, it's sponsorship money, but they get paid like a monthly sort of retainer, and they can actually live without having to work. How important is that for you that Rourke does that?
Well, basically that's it. I've seen it with Rourke. Rourke was a barber. It's quite well publicized. He used to work and then train at night. And yes, he did really well. Like Rourke's career, he was blessed. He went 6-0, and he managed to do it. But the improvements I've seen in Rourke, just being able to train 3 times a day, get his strength and conditioning and get his proper training with the undervussy, his runs in, without having the financial strain. The financial strain is what kills these fighters, because you can't be training when you need to be supporting a household, or you need to be supporting yourself. This way, we've got good sponsors. The guys he's reaping the rewards. Personally, just through Rourke, I can see that he doesn't have that financial stress, where he's working towards a paycheck. The fight night is everything. Rourke doesn't worry even about his pay, his purses, because he doesn't have to. You know, he's sustaining his lifestyle via the sponsors. He's making the sponsors happy, and he's giving something back. You know, sponsorships are not donations. You know, you've got to give something back.
Now let's touch on the boxer. Let's talk about management itself. What should managers do that they are not doing?
This is a tough one because I've only been in the industry for 8 months. People are going to say, like, what does this guy know? Personally, I think managers need to understand that they are managing a fighter. The sponsorships are not for managers. They are for the fighters. A percentage of the sponsorship should be for the manager. So if we get 100,000 Rand a month, then your manager should take his 15,000 Rand or 15%, and that's cool. The rest must go to the fighter. I think what happens in South Africa is that managers and trainers and managing trainers, that mostly what we have, are acquiring sponsorships and for their gym, which I don't see a problem with, but not on the back of your fighters, and then giving their fighters a percentage of the sponsorship, which to me is the wrong way, personally. That's why we're not developing the world champions we did 20 years ago.
I mean, I've had the discussion with many people, trainer managers and just trainers, should it not be separate unless the person actually is avidly going out there? It's hard for a guy with like 15, 20 fighters in his stable to look after every single person. So do you think that, I mean, if you have 15 boxers and you're a trainer, should you just stick to training because you're collecting quite a percentage already?
I personally believe that. I do. I believe that a trainer should train, a manager should manage, and a boxer should box. I personally can't train, but I speak for myself. Vusi can't do the management job that I'm doing, and Rock can't manage, and Rock can't train himself. So everyone's got to have their goal, the part that they partake in, and do that to your best of your ability. I mean, South Africa is very different. I mean, I think that's why BSA doesn't want people registering for trainer and manager. I mean, I think that says enough. We have it. It's the culture in South African boxing. You know, your trainer manages you, he looks after you. But I believe to get the most out of your fighter, to get the most out of sponsors, to get the most out of your career, it should be 3 separate entities: boxer, fighter, manager.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. And of course, run us through a day of what a boxing manager's life's like, because obviously you've got a lot more to do than what people actually think you do. You work a lot, like people just think, you secure sponsorship, you negotiate fights, and there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, I think the old cliche is, you know, all a manager does is secure fights and negotiate persons. And my approach is completely different to that. I feel that we have a promoter in place. Fortunately, Rock's the number 1 promoter in South Africa, and I'll say that out to anyone. Golden Gloves is the number 1 promoter in South Africa. I let Mr. Rodney Berman give me the purses if we're happy. Most of the time we are. He gives us good purses. He organizes the fights. He is the promoter. That's his job. I feel the manager's job is acquiring sponsorships. It's sending out emails. It's creating a net, sending out a net and trying to catch as many fish as possible that work with your fighter. Not every sponsor is going to work with your fighter. You know, Rock offers something as opposed to, let's just say, Hickey Butler. Hickey Butler has a certain target market and Rock has a certain target market. Rock's 21. He appeals to the younger culture. He appeals to, let's just say, like the under 25s. You know, fancy clothes, different dress code. Where Hickey will appeal to the older guy who's been watching boxing for years and followed Hickey's career from when he was a youngster. So for me, it's all about trying to identify sponsors that work with my fighter, that my fighter can bring value to their clients. And it's not easy. You can send out a net to 100 emails and get 4 replies. And of those 4, only 1 is suitable to your fighter. There's no use taking sponsorships that you can't fulfill your side of the agreement. And I think that's where the problem comes in South Africa. We're starving for sponsors that we'll take anything, and we don't align ourselves to the correct sponsor. And then what happens is we lose that sponsor, and not only do you lose that sponsor for that fighter, you lose that sponsor for the whole of South African boxing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. So we've got good fighters who appeal to a certain target market, where someone else has taken that sponsor, messed it up, not by his own fault. It's just he's not appealing to that place. And that sponsor now has decided, no, sorry, we're not sponsoring anything boxing related because we've grabbed the sponsor. We're starving for sponsors. You can't do that.
Just lastly, now, how do, and I don't want to do this because it's not a transfer market and you're not a football club looking for players. Yeah. But if someone does potentially want to join you and just doesn't know how to get hold of you, how do they do that?
Well, I've got an Instagram handle. I think it's Marky77. You guys can drop me a message
I'll
there.
find it for you. I'll drop it on the screen.
Yeah. Via Rourke's Instagram, I am starting to consider now looking at other fighters. Rourke's very settled. He's on the right track. We've got some great plans for him. He's going to blow up. There's no doubt. He's super talented. I think it makes it easier when you get a guy that's talented and dedicated. But yeah, if you guys are interested, if anyone's out there wanting to have a chat,
You're always open for the chat.
I'm always open for the chat. Yeah, no promises.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of a guy. I don't make promises that I can't keep, and I'm only looking to work with select few kind of guys. I feel that I'm offering. I know it sounds arrogant and a bit crazy, but an elite service at the moment. I'm doing something that nobody else is doing in South African boxing. And I only want to really work with elite guys because I believe that if we work hand in hand, I'll take guys to where they need to be.
Guys, if you're looking for someone serious, if you're looking, well, we're just discussing management here, what South African managers should do. So if there are managers out there who are looking to improve their game, take into consideration a few points, and of course, get hold of us as well. We'd like to hear your opinion. Maybe you have a few comments on this episode. And of course, look what this man's done with Rourke Knapp's career in such a short time, and maybe you can do the same. So, thank you everyone for listening. Marco Louis, manager of Rourke Knapp.
Thanks very much.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Adrian.